hundreds, thousands maybe of them who have told this story about how data centers and AI are driving new load growth and we all have to panic and make these investments in new gas plants. Everyone has this entire story upside down. Instead of the narrative being, oh my God, all this new demand is materializing from nowhere because AI is this unstoppable force, and so all us ratepayers have to pay for a bunch of new capacity to meet it, the narrative should be, certain officials, like mayors, governors, and state legislators, are inviting all these businesses to locate onto our grids. But what are they doing to ensure that the burden of serving those new loads doesn't fall on our citizens? Because it looks to me like what is being proposed here is not some unprecedented explosion of unavoidable data center load, but rather a possibly inadvertent wealth transfer from all utility customers, including low-income customers, to some of the largest and wealthiest tech giants on the planet. Funny how the whole argument about preventing cost shifts among rate classes is such a big part of the debate around policies like net metering for solar, and yet it seems to be utterly absent from the discussion around the rate setting for data center customers. So I think what we have here is not merely a question about appropriate cost allocation among customer classes, but also a very serious question about local politicians inviting new businesses onto their grids without taking care to ensure that they're not imposing new cost burdens on the most economically disadvantaged part of their constituencies as a result.
Yeah, I think the jury is obviously still out on the degree of the wealth transfer bit that will happen through rates. We have to see what those rates are and how they function. Unfortunately, we may never actually see the rates that big data centers get. And they may get different deals than one another based on what they're willing to do in negotiations with the utilities, what they're willing to agree to. So, yeah, I think that's something regulators, that's their main function, right, is to guard against that kind of thing. But obviously, there are power dynamics here that make it really difficult to protect the most vulnerable consumers. And as you've highlighted, it's so important that there are consumer advocates that are given a big seat at the table. Certainly, there's some wealth transfer happening through tax policy. The tax breaks for these businesses have to come from somewhere.